Whether you're a total beginner, a small business owner, or a WordPress professional, you may want to create a WordPress website with a vertical sticky header and a full screen navigation. Now you could purchase a theme that already has that included, but you're looking for a solution that has more flexibility and that allows you to create exactly what you want. So in this video, I will show you how to use the power of WordPress patterns, combined with the Spectra 1 free WordPress theme and the powerful visual website builder Spectra Pro. Hello, I'm Kay from the Spectra team, and today I'll show you how to create this beautiful website with a sticky vertical header and a full screen navigation. So let me show you. So here I added a featured image, and as we scroll down we see the content of the page. Content is pretty basic, just a couple of images, but it's just to show you the sticky nature of the vertical header. Now we could have kept the vertical header in the tablet version, but the screen real estate being lower than on the desktop, it makes sense to keep a traditional top header navigation. So as you scroll, it's still sticky. And this is even more true for the mobile version. So on this version, we kept the standard top header. So that was for pages, but I will also show you how to adapt this to other types like the blog archive. So as you can see here, we got our sticky vertical header. And as we click on a blog post, as you can see, we have our featured image here and we got the content. Now this time for blog posts, the content isn't as wide as for pages. And I will show you how to change that. Next, why creating a vertical sticky header? Well, one of the reasons may be that you just want to stand out from the crowd, because nowadays many web designs look alike. So that may be one way that you can actually stand out. Now let's face it, it works in desktop mode, but not really if you want to go in tablet mode or mobile mode, because the screen estate, as I mentioned previously, is really narrow. So you don't want to lose the small amount of width that you have on a mobile device. So in that case, as I mentioned, it makes more sense to use the traditional header, same for the tablet. Now when it comes to the desktop, now let's face it, more than half of your website visitors will do so on a mobile device, depending on which industry you're in. Some cases it's going to be 80-90%, in some cases it's going to be 20%. So it's up to you to decide whether it's worth it to use that vertical sticky header for your website. But if you do want your desktop version to stand out, then this is definitely something you should try. Next, let's talk about the SEO impact. So in case you don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and basically it's a lot of criteria that Google is using to rank a website, rank a page, but overall to rank a website. Now, when you use the technique we're going to use in this video, which is when you click here on this icon, you get actually a full screen pop-up that was made possible with Spectra Pro's pop-up builder. Now the pop-up builder is also available in the free version of Spectra, but if you want to trigger it from any element, then you need Spectra Pro. And this is why we're using Spectra Pro in this tutorial. Now, as I was saying, with this technique, it could impact the search engine optimization of your website, or SEO. But fear not, because it's only one of the criteria and there is a workaround. Let me show you. So let me close this, and as I scroll down, as you can see here, we have a footer, and in this footer I've added a regular navigation. So this is one of the ways you can tell Google, hey, if you can't see the navigation in that pop-up, well, here is the navigation. So at least Google knows, okay, this is the actual navigation of the website. And as I mentioned, this is just one of the criteria. Now, of course, if you want to minimize that, you want to have your SEO on point, you want to have your sitemap ready, and a bunch of other things and techniques, but this is beyond the scope of this video. Next, what we need for this project? Well, first of all, we need WordPress, and then we need a WordPress theme to display the content of our website. And finally, we need a visual website builder, and that's going to be a plugin. So our theme is going to be Spectra 1. This is a free theme. And when it comes to the visual website builder, we'll be using Spectra with the Spectra Pro add-on, because we needed to trigger our pop-up from any element, and also we needed to pull some dynamic data. Now, to avoid any confusion, it's important to make a distinction. Spectra 1 is the theme that WordPress needs to display your content, whereas Spectra and Spectra Pro is the website visual builder that is basically a drag and drop tool that allows you to create anything you want, any layout, anything you imagine in your mind you can build with Spectra and Spectra Pro. And in case you don't know, Spectra is a powerful visual website editor built on top of the WordPress core editor. And if you want to build more advanced website, then Spectra Pro is the tool you need with the loop builder, the pop-up builder, the dynamic data extension, and more. And if you're interested, you'll find links in the description below. Next, WordPress Setup. Okay, first let's install our theme. So for that, you want to go to Appearance, Themes, then click on Add New. Then in the search field, you want to type Spectra 1, click on Install and Activate. Great, and right away you are prompted to install the Spectra builder. So click on Install. We can see that Spectra is installed, but we want to add Spectra Pro. So click on Add New, then click on Upload Plugin, click on Choose File, and select the Spectra Pro zip file that you got when you purchased Spectra Pro. Click on Open, and click on Install Now. Next, click on Activate Plugin, paste your license key, and click on Activate. Great, now your license is successfully validated, so you can get all updates for the future. Next, you want to click on Theme Fonts, toggle the font families on, click in the drop-down, and look for your favorite font. Select one or more font weights, and select one or more font styles. Then click on Add Google Font. Great, it's automatically saved. Next, go to Pages, Add New, and we're going to call it Home. Then click on the little I here because we don't want to show the title. And next click on Publish and publish one more time. Now let's go back, click on the WordPress logo, and one more time while in Pages, click on Add New. And this time we're going to call it Blog. Then click on Publish and publish one more time. Next, let's go back, and I'm just going to trash this page. And just a quick tip, if you want to reorder the pages, just click on Quick Edit. Let's give this page an order of 1. Click on Update. Let's do the same for Blog, but this time it's going to be an order of 2. Click on Update. And finally, for our sample page, an order of 3. Update. And now if I refresh the page, there you go. Next, you want to go to Settings, Reading. And here for the settings, we want to select a static page as our home page. So click in the drop down, click on the page called Home that we just created. And for the post page, this time is going to be Blog. Next, since this is not a production website, but just a test website, for each post in a feed, include excerpt and not full text. And make sure you tick discourage search engines from indexing this site. Now, of course, when you're going to publish the website live, make sure you don't forget to untick this setting. Next, click on Save Changes, and we're done for the setup. Next, styles. So for this, make sure you got one of the latest versions of WordPress. In this video, we're using 6.3, so it has to be minimum 6.3. Otherwise, the interface is not going to be the same. So that being said, you want to go to Appearance, Editor, then select Styles, and you will see a small edit icon. So click on it, and next you want to click on Typography, Text, and select the font that you added previously. In my case, it's Poppins. Now let's go back one more time. Now click on Colors, Palette, and I'm just going to change the main color here. Great. Now let's go back one more time and click on Layout. And here we're going to change those settings, and I'm going to show you why. But first of all, let's save to make sure we don't lose our work. Now I'm going to keep this tab open, and I'm going to open a new tab with my dashboard. Then I'm going to go to Pages and click on Home. So this is our home page. I'm just going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to add an image. Next, I'm going to click on Media Library, click on Select Files, and I've already prepared some images, so let me click on Open. Let me pick one image, click on Select, and basically what I wanted to show you is that the width that you see here is basically the canvas we have. Let me show you. For example, if I click on the plus sign and add a heading, let's change this to a paragraph, and let's change the text to "Hello, this is my homepage." Let's click on Update. So this is the size of the canvas we have, whereas the final version on desktop will be as wide as this. Now, as we will see, there are now 2 ways to edit a page in WordPress. So this here is one of the ways, and the other way is with the full site editor. And with the full site editor, you get the full width. But sometimes you may want to use this way of editing your page, and I will show you why later in this video. Now with the image selected, in the side panel, make sure that the image size is set to full size and click on update. And if I go back to my previous tab, I'm going to change the value where it says content from px to vw, and I'm going to change the value to 80, and the same thing where it says wide from px to vw, and the value I'm going to change to 80. Next, where it says padding, I'm going to change the 24px by 0, and the block spacing should be set to 0. Next, click on save and save again. Okay, now let me go back to my page called home, and now let's refresh. And voila! Now as you can see, we have a much wider canvas, and that's going to make it way easier if we want to edit this page here instead of in the full site editor. Great! Now let's go back to our previous tab and let's click on the WordPress icon. Then one more time, let's click on the edit icon for the styles. Then click on the three dots and click on additional CSS. Now if you don't know CSS, no panic, it's just copying and pasting, and you'll find all the details in the description of this video. So basically all you need to do is paste the CSS code and click on save and save again. Now what this code is doing is simply making the vertical header sticky. This is for this part, and then for the other part is just about some padding issues when we go into tablet and mobile mode. So this fixes that. Next, creating the full screen navigation. So in WordPress, you want to go to Spectra, Pop-up Builder, then click on Create Pop-up, and let's call it FS menu for full screen menu. Now you get two choices, either an info bar or a pop-up. Click on pop-up, and next you want to click on the document overview icon. Click on Pop-up Builder, then in the side panel in the General tab where it says Pop-up Width, you want to change it to VW and change the value to 100, and where it says height, change the value to VH, and one more time, change the value to 100. Next, where it says use overlay, you want to toggle this off. Then you want to click on the visibility sub-tab, and for the trigger type, you want to select elements. And upon doing that, you get a pop-up trigger. It says copy and paste the class above to any block's additional classes to create a clickable element that will trigger the pop-up. And that's one of the reasons that you need Spectra Pro for this tutorial, because you want the ability to use any element, and in our case we're going to use an icon to trigger that full screen navigation. So don't worry, I will show you later what to do with it, but you can just click on it to copy it, or you can just copy it the normal way and save it somewhere else. But right now, still with our pop-up builder selected in our document overview, you want to click on the Style tab in the side panel. Then where it says background, click on the little color icon, click on the color palette, and I'm going to choose my main color. Now let me close this. Now where it says radius, I want to change this to 0 all around. And where it says spacing, I'm going to give the pop-up a padding of 0 all around. Same for the margin. Now where it says close button padding right here, you want to click on the little icon to unlink the values, and this time it's going to be 30 on top, 30 on the right hand side, and then 0 for the bottom and the left. Great! Now in the document overview, you want to expand the pop-up builder by clicking on the little arrow. I'm going to click on the info box, click on the plus sign, and click on the container Spectra block. Now let me go back in the document overview, click on the info box block, click on the three dots, and hit delete. Next, select the container in the document overview, and in the side panel you want to go to General, Layout, make sure the container width is full width, and now for the content box width you want to click on VW and change this to 100, and for the content width you want it to be full width, and now for the minimum height you want to click on VH and change the value to 100. Next, where you see HTML tag, you want to click on the drop down and change it to nav. Next, click on Flex Properties. Now the direction should be set to column, align items should be set to center, and same for justify content. Next, click on Style, then click on Spacing. You want to leave the default values except for the padding, you want it to be 40 pixels all around, and the margin should be set to 0. Next, in the middle here, you see a plus sign. Click on it to add a block. Let me start typing icon, and this is the one I want, the icon list from Spectra. So let me click on it. And on the side panel, in the General tab, let me click on icon. First of all, I'm going to remove the icon. Then click on the Content sub-tab. I'm going to change the alignment to center. Then click on the Style tab. Let me collapse this. Let me open the Label sub-tab. And for the color, I'm going to change it to black for the normal state. And then I'm going to click on the Hover tab. And this time it's going to be white. So now when we hover over the elements, this is the way it looks. Next, click on the typography icon, and for the font size, it's going to be 40 pixels for the desktop. Now let's publish our work so we're sure we don't lose what we've built. And now let's make some changes for the responsive versions. So here you find a little icon for the preview. So let me change this to tablet. And with my container selected in the document overview, I want to go to Style, Spacing, and make sure that the padding is set to 40 pixels all around and margin set to 0. And when you're working in responsive mode, always double check that the icon you see here is matching the device size you're trying to edit. Great! Now this time let's go into mobile mode. And one more time, we want to change the padding, but this time to 20 pixels all around, 0 all around for the margin. And while we're still in mobile mode, we want to click on the icon list in the document overview, then click on the typography icon, and this time we're going to change the font size to 30. Great! Now let's go back into desktop mode and let's change the label. So I'm just going to double click, I'm going to call it home, and then I'm going to toggle on the link option here in the side panel, and then all you need to do is paste the link of your homepage. Same for the second item, let's call it blog. Toggle on the link and paste the correct URL. And the last one, for the time being, let's call it sample page. And you know the drill now. So once you've pasted all your links, all you need to do is click on update. And if you're wondering how to get the links, all you need to do is go to pages. Then you need to hover over one of the pages and you will see a view link here. So all you need to do is right click and click on copy clean link or copy link, depending on which browser you're using. Next, creating a vertical page pattern. Now, WordPress comes with patterns, and it's all gonna make sense in a second. So bear with me. So in WordPress, you wanna go to Appearance, Editor, and here you will see patterns. So let me click on it. And for example, let me click on Pages. And here, as you can see, we have 4 patterns. Like for example, this one with a sidebar, or this one without any sidebar. And then we have 2 more and they're named. So this one is template page sidebar, template page, and then we have template single sidebar and template single that you can use for blog posts, for example. So basically we're going to create our own pattern, and for that we're going to duplicate one of those patterns and change it to our liking. So let me scroll back up. Actually, you want to use this one. So I'm just going to click on the 3 dots here and click on copy to my patterns. There you go. And it says template page copy added to my patterns. View my patterns, or you can just click here in my patterns. So this is a copy, so we can do whatever we want with it. So I'm just going to click on the 3 dots and rename it. And let's call it vertical page pattern. Click on save. And now if I want to edit it, all I need to do is click on it, and you saw how fast it was. And one more time, let me click, and now I can edit this pattern. So next, let me click on the list view, and I'm just going to delete everything. Yes. Next, click on the plus sign and click on container, and let's choose this structure, this one right here. Now let me click on the list view, and with my container selected, where it says content width, I'm gonna change the measure to VW and change the value to 100, and same for minimum height, VH 100. Next, click on flex properties. The direction should be set to row. Align items should be set to flex start, and justify content should be set to flex start. Next, click on the style tab, click on the icon color, and the color should be set to white. Then click on the spacing sub-tab Make sure the row gap is set to 0, the column gap is set to 0, and the padding should be 0 all around, and same for the margin. Next, in the list view, you want to expand the container and select the first subcontainer. Then on the side panel, click on General, Layout subtab, change the custom width unit to VW, and the value should be set to 5. And for the minimum height, change the unit to VH, and the value should be 100. Next, for the HTML tag, click on the drop-down and set it to header. Next, click on Flex Properties. Direction should be set to column. The align items should be set to Flex Start, and Justify Content should be set to Space Between. Next, click on the Style tab. Where it says Background, click on the color icon and change it to your preferred color. I'm going to use the main color here. Then click on Spacing. Row gap, set it to 0. Same for the column gap, 0. Now for the padding, you want to unlink the value, so click on this icon. And it's going to be 30 on top, 10 on the right, 30 at the bottom, and 10 on the left. And next, the margin should be set to 0 all around. Next, you want to click on Advanced, and where it says HTML anchor, I'm just going to paste this, sticky_container. Now we need this because the CSS code that we pasted earlier on is referring to that idea. So it's sticky_container, but once again, you find all the details in the description of this video. Okay, let me zoom back out. Let's save. And next, let's select our second subcontainer. Go to General tab, Layout, change the custom width unit to VW, and change the value to 95. Next, for the minimum height, switch the unit to VH, and the value should be set to 100. Next, click on Flex Properties. Direction should be set to column, align items should be set to Flex Start, and Justify Content set to Flex Start also. Next, click on Style, then on the Spacing subtab. Row gap should be set to 0, column gap also. Padding should be set to 0 all around, and the same for the margin. Great, now let's add some content. So first of all, let's select our first subcontainer here in the list view. Then here you see a plus sign to add a block. Let's click on it, and I'm just going to add image. And if you don't find it, just start typing image. You want to use the blue one, it's the Spectra block. And here in the side panel, you can click on Change Image. You can either upload files by dragging and dropping files straight from the desktop, or you can click on Select Files, but I've already uploaded files in the media library. So let me pick that image, click on Select, and I want to use this as my site logo, and I want this to be clickable. So here you find an option, Dynamic Image Link. So let's click on it. And in the data source, you want to click on the drop down and change it to site logo URL. Then click on Apply. So now when you click on it, you'll go straight to what is defined as the home page of your website. Now this feature is part of the dynamic data extension of Spectra Pro. Next, for the alignment, you want to center it. Then let's scroll down. Image size should be set to custom. And the image dimensions in my case are going to be 50 by 50. And the object fit should be set to contain. Next, with our image selected, you want to click on the plus sign and add an icon. And you want to make sure it's the Spectra icon. So let's click on it, and it's right here at the bottom. So with our icon selected, in the side panel, in the General tab, Icon, first of all, we want to change this icon. So I'm going to type grip, and I'm going to use grip lines. Click on Insert Icon. We want the size to be 40 pixels, alignment to be in the center. Then let's click on the Style tab, and where it says Icon Color, make sure it's black. Then go to Advanced, Advanced, and this is where we want to copy the trigger class that we saw earlier on in this video. And I'm going to open a new tab, then go to Spectra, Pop-up Builder, then click on FS Menu, which is the pop-up that we created earlier on. Next, let me open the document overview, select Pop-up Builder, and on the side panel, click on the Visibility subtab. And here, in case you didn't copy it earlier on, I'm just going to click on it to copy it. Okay, and back in our tab with our custom pattern, and if you're lost, just click on the list view. We are in the first subcontainer, Icon, Advanced, Advanced, Additional CSS class. So here, I'm just going to right-click and paste. And next, still with the icon selected in the list view, click on the plus sign and start typing separator. And once again, we want to use the blue one, which is the Spectra block. Click on it. Then in the side panel where it says style, you want to change it to none. Then click on the style tab. And for the height, you want to make it 0. Great. Now, one more time, let's open our list view and let's collapse our first subcontainer and let's click on the second subcontainer. Then click on the plus sign and start typing featured image. Let's click on it. And as you can see, it added a featured image here, which is not really what we want. So let me open the list view and I'm just gonna drag the featured image within the container. So now if I expand, here it is. Next, with our post featured image selected, click on the plus sign and click on container. Let's go back into list view. And with our first sub-container selected, in the side panel, you want to change the unit to VW. Make sure it's 100. And for minimum height, change it to VH and value is 100. Next, click on flex properties. Direction should be set to column. Align items should be set to flex start and the same for justify content. Flex start. Next, click on style, then on the spacing sub-tab. Row gap set to 0, column gap set to 0 also, and the padding should be set to 40 pixels all around in the desktop view, and the margin should be set to 0. Now let's click on the responsive icon, let's go into tablet mode, and if for some reason the site editor doesn't respond, what you can do is just change the values here by just dragging the side handles. Now at the time of recording this video, WordPress 6.3 is still pretty new, so I assume this is a bug and it should be ironed out. So by the time you watch this video, it may already be fixed. But for the time being, this is what you can do if you want to resize on the get-go. Now as mentioned, always make sure that the icon corresponds to the device you're trying to edit. So let me change this to tablet and let me set the value. So 0 for the row gap, 0 column gap, and same thing, 40 pixels all around and 0 for the margin. Now let me put a mobile view and let me change the icon to mobile. And let me change the value, 0, 0. And for the padding, this time it's going to be 20 pixels all around and 0 for the margin. Now let's go back into desktop mode. Let me change the icon back. And with our first sub-container selected, let me click on the plus sign and let's add a heading block. So it's a Spectra block, let me click on it. And if you don't see it, you know what to do. Just go to the list overview and you just want to drag it and place it inside the container. Now if we expand, we have our heading right here. Next, you want to select all the text in this heading, and in the floating toolbar, you want to click on the dynamic content icon. And where it says data source, you want to leave it at current post. And for the source field, it should be set to post title. Next, click on apply. And right now it says no content because this is just a pattern. But when we apply that custom pattern to pages and posts, you will see the content appear. Now, in case you want to know more about Spectra Pro's dynamic data extension and Spectra Pro in general, I invite you to watch this video, but of course, once you finish watching this one. Next, still with our post title selected, you want to click on Style in the side panel, then Typography, and we're going to change the size to 40. Let's close this. Let's click on the Spacing sub-tab, and for the margin, we're going to unlink the margin values. It's going to be 10, 0, 10, and 0 on the left. Now for the responsive modes, let's go back into Heading, Typography, and let's change the icon to Tablet. Then let's click once again. And this time the size is going to be 30 pixels. And now let's change it to mobile. Let's click once again. And this time it's going to be 20 pixels. Now let's go back into spacing. Click on the margin icon. Let's change it to tablet. Once again, we want to unlink the values and make it 10, 0, 10, 0. And the same for the mobile. 10, 0, 10, 0. Now let's go back into desktop mode. And with our post title selected, click on the plus sign, and this time we want to add post content. So let me type post content and let me click on it. So let me close this, and with our post content block selected in the side panel where it says layout, you want to toggle the option inner blocks use content with, and for the justification, let's make it on the left. Now let's open our list view and still with our post content block selected, click on the plus sign and type comments. So let's click on comments. Now let's close this. I'm just going to click on the title here, then click on the styles icon. Now this is a core WordPress block. That's why it's a bit different from what we've seen so far with the general tab, the styles tab, and the advanced tab, which is from Spectra. So click on the style sub-tab. Let's change the text color to black, and let's change the title size to large. Great, let's save our work to save our progression. And now let's click once again on our list overview. We're going to collapse all this. Let's select our first sub container. Click on the plus sign and we're going to add a new container. Now let's go back into list overview and the view should be like this. So now we have two sub containers. And the second sub container is actually going to be our footer. So with this sub container selected, on the side panel you want to go to General, change the unit of the width to VW, and the value should be set to 100. Next, where it says HTML tag, click on the drop down and you want to select footer. Next, click on the Flex Properties sub-tab. The direction should be set to row. Align items should be set to left, and justify content should be set to center. Next, click on the Style tab, and where it says background, click on the color icon, and let's change the color to our main color. Then click on the Spacing sub-tab. The row gap should be set to 0. The same for the column gap. Now the padding should be set to 30 pixels all around, and the margin should be set to 0. Now you can't really see it, so let me scroll down because this is what we see here at the bottom. Next, you will see a plus sign here to add a block, so let's click on it. And let me start typing navigation. And once again, this is a WordPress block, not a Spectra one. So let me click on it. And by default, it added those 3 pages, which are the only pages on our website. But if we wanted, we could click on the plus sign and add a custom link, for example. So if we click on it, we can change the label. Let's call it My Link. We can paste the URL, and now it would appear here. But we don't need it. It was just to show you. So if I go back into navigation, I can just click on the 3 dots and remove the custom link. Next, I want to click on the Settings tab. Justification should be set to center, and the orientation should be set to horizontal. Now, I do not want to allow to wrap to multiple lines, so I'm going to toggle this off. And I don't want to have an overlay menu, whether in desktop, tablet, or mobile. So I'm going to toggle this off also. But if you want, feel free to use any of the other options. Next, let's click on the Styles tab. And where it says text, I want to change the color to black. Great, let's save our work. Next, once again, let's select our second sub container. And where it says style, let's go to the spacing sub-tab. Let's change the responsive icon to tablet. And let's set the value, so 0 for row gap, 0 for column gap. And when it comes to the padding, it's going to be 20 pixels all around, and margin should be set to 0. And let's repeat the operation for the mobile. 0, 0, and 20 all around, and 0 for the margin. Next, let me collapse the main container now. Let me select the main container, then go to Advanced, Responsive Conditions, and we want to hide this main container on tablet and mobile. And this is for a very simple reason. As I showed you at the beginning of this video, it doesn't really make sense to have a vertical sticky header for the tablet and mobile versions, and that's why we need 2 separate versions. But you'll only need to enter the content once, and it will display fine on the various devices. Next, click on the 3 dots, click on Duplicate, select the duplicated container, and this time, still in Advanced, you want to do the opposite. You want to hide on desktop, but you want it to be shown on tablet and mobile. So let's click on Save to save our work. Now with our duplicated container selected, you want to go to General, Flex Properties, and make sure the direction is set to column. Now click on the responsive icon and get into tablet mode, and make sure the same is selected. And repeat the operation for the mobile. Now let me go back into tablet mode and let me resize the canvas. Now let me expand my duplicated container, and from now on let's call it the tablet mobile container, And technically, if you really want to optimize your website, you want to drag this container on top of the first one. So you want to change the order, because then the code generated will appear first, and that's going to make it faster for tablet and mobile devices. But let's keep it simple here for this tutorial, so let me put it back where it was, which is position number 2. So one more time, let's expand our tablet mobile container. Click on our first subcontainer, then go to General, Layout, and where it says Custom Width, click on VW, and the width should be set to 100. And for minimum height, click on VH and set the value to 5. Next, click on Flex Properties. Direction should be set to row. Align items should be set to center, and justify content should be set to space between. Now let me scroll down here so you see it here. And let me expand my first subcontainer, and I'm just going to delete the separator because we don't need it here. So let me click on the 3 dots, delete. Now let me click on the image and align to the left. Then let me click on the icon and align to the right. And timeout. While recording the video, I noticed the icon is on right. So let's fix this in this version and the desktop version. So stay with our icon selected, click on change icon, type grip, and let's pick this icon, click on insert icon, and we should actually do the same for the desktop version. So let me expand it here, first subcontainer, icon, and let me do the same. Okay, let me collapse our first desktop container and let's go back to where we were. Okay, so now we are back in our tablet mobile container. Let me click on the first subcontainer, then go to Style, Spacing, row gap should be set to 0, same for the column gap, and the padding should be set to 10, 30, 10, 30, and the margin should be set to 0 all around. Great, let's save our work. Now let's go back to the General tab, Layout, and let's change the responsive icon to mobile. Actually, let me change this here on the canvas. Make sure the custom width is set to 100 VW. Then go to Flex Properties. Make sure the direction is set to row. Align items should be set to center, and justify content should be set to Flex Start. And now, very important, where it says wrap, you want to select the no wrap option. Now once again, you want to click on the image, make sure it's set to be aligned on the left, and the icon should be aligned on the right hand side. And now one more time, let's select our first subcontainer. Then you want to go to Style, Spacing, row gap should be set to 0, same for the column gap, and the padding should be set to 10, 30, 10, 30. And next, the margin should be set to 0 all around. Great! Now let's collapse our first subcontainer and let's click on our second subcontainer. And still in mobile view, you want to go to Style, Spacing, and once again 0 for the row and column gaps, and it's going to be 0 for the padding and 0 for the margin. And you want to repeat the operation for the tablet, so click on the tablet responsive icon and let's repeat the operation. 0 for the padding and 0 for the margin. And let's save our work. Now last but not least, with our tablet mobile container selected, you want to go to the second subcontainer, expand it, and go to the second subcontainer, which is our footer that you see right here. Now if you only have 3 items in your navigation, then it's fine, you can keep it like this, but more than likely you might have more. So let me expand, select the navigation, then go to Settings, and this time for the orientation, you want to change it to vertical. And there you go. Next, click on Save and save one more time. Next, corrections. Before we go even deeper, there is something we need to correct, otherwise we'll have issues down the line. So still in our custom vertical page pattern, here we have our first container. This is the desktop container, if you remember. And then the second container is the tablet and mobile container. So the first one only shows on desktop and the second one only shows on tablet and mobile. So you want to expand the second one, and let's choose the second sub-container. Next, you want to click on the responsive icon and change it to tablet. Now for the unit, you want to click on VW and you want to make it 100. And for the height, click on VH and make it 100. Next, click on Save. Okay, now you're all set and you can go back to following this tutorial. So if you've made it up to here, congratulations, because this was like the hardest part, even though it was pretty fun for me. But now let's have some real fun by applying these patterns to different types of content. Next, applying our custom pattern to templates. So in WordPress, you want to go to Appearance, Editor, then click on Templates, and let's apply our custom pattern to the Pages template. So let me click on Pages, and then I can just click anywhere here, and there you go. You can see that we're editing the Pages template. And when you click on the list overview, this is what you should see. Now, in case you don't see the header and the footer, just refresh the page. And once you open the list overview one more time, you should see the header and the footer. So next, we're going to delete everything. Yes, you heard right. I said we're going to delete everything. So click on the three dots and hit delete and repeat the operation for the other groups. Even when you get this prompt, click on delete. Same for this one, and finally for our footer. Now once you do that, this prompt might appear, but if it doesn't, all you need to do is click on the plus sign, go to My Patterns, and there you go. You see the vertical page pattern that we just created. So just click on it, and voila, the whole pattern has been inserted. So next you want to click on Save and Save again. Now let's say you want to edit a page. So let's go back, click on the WordPress icon. Let's go back, and here you see Pages just underneath Styles. So let's click on Pages, because initially I told you there are two ways we can now edit content with full site editor. Either the classic way we showed previously, you go back to the WordPress dashboard, click on Pages, Edit, or here in the full site editor. I just show you I clicked on Pages, and now all I need to do is click on Home, which is the page I want to edit, and right here I can just click anywhere. Let me close this, and this is our home page. So if you want to be sure, here it says Home, it doesn't say Pages. So this is the content page and not the template. Now the issue here is that we modify the template so much with the desktop version and the tablet and mobile version that it looks a bit overwhelming, to be honest. Whereas if you are using the default Pages template that come with Spectra 1, you could do it from here, from the full site editor, but no panic, because all in all, the experience is going to be almost the same. So let's make sure we save our work, even though we didn't change anything here. Now let's go back. Let's click on the WordPress icon one more time. And now let's go to Pages, hover over Home, click on Edit. And as you can see, we can edit from here, and it's way cleaner because we don't need to enter the content twice, and it's just going to be super easy. So I'm quickly going to add some content so that we can actually scroll and see the sticky vertical header in action, and I'm going to speed this up. And if I go to the front end, as you can see here, I have my featured image, and this is the content that I just created. Now there's only one issue here. It's the title, because maybe I don't want a title on my pages. Now in the original Spectra 1 template, you can just activate or deactivate the title and it works fine, but because we've changed things, it doesn't quite work. Now the reason why I put the title in the custom pattern is because we may need this title, for example, for blog posts, but not so much for page templates. Now the solution is super easy. Let me show you. In WordPress, you want to go to Appearance, Editor, and if you recall, we created our custom pattern in Patterns, My Patterns. But we're not going to change the main pattern. We're just going to change the page template. So let's go back one step. Let's go to Templates, Pages. Now let's click anywhere. And all we need to do is click on the title, click on the three dots, and delete. Now let's look for the tablet and mobile version. Let's do the same. Three dots, delete. Let's click on Save. And now let's go back to the front end and let me refresh. And there you go. Title has disappeared. Now you may be asking, yeah, but what if I want the title sometimes? But it's also pretty easy. So in WordPress, I go to Pages, then the home page, Edit. Now let me click on the list overview. Now on this page, I had created two containers with Spectra. This has nothing to do with the pattern. It's just I wanted to show you one with one image on the left and one with the image on the right hand side. So let me select my first container, click on plus, heading. So I'm just going to add the heading here and then just use the arrows to move it up. There you go. And just like before, I'm going to select the text, click on the database icon, and in the source field drop down, let me select post title, click on apply, and click on update. Now let's go back to our home page and let me refresh. And there you go. Now currently on our website, if I open the full screen navigation and go to blog, this is what I get. So this is the original template from the Spectra 1 theme. But let's change this. So first of all, let me go to posts, hello world, edit. Next, I'm going to select this text and replace it by this text. Next, let me click on the post tab, featured image. Let me select this image, set featured image, and click on update. Next, in the WordPress dashboard, you want to go to appearance, editor. Then you want to go to templates, blog home, click anywhere, open the list view, and let's remove all of this. Next, click on the plus sign, my patterns, click on vertical page pattern, and next go to post, and we're going to select this one, blog grid. Let's close this, and now when we scroll, we can see we have our vertical pattern, and then we have the latest post. So let's open the list overview, and let me collapse all of this so it makes it easier. So once again, this is our desktop container, this is for tablet and mobile, and this is the latest post we just added. So first of all, let me click on the three dots of this group and click on copy. Next, let's start with the desktop. So I'm going to expand the desktop version, click on the second subcontainer, then I'm going to click on the post featured image, click on the three dots and click on add before. And here I can just right click and paste. And there you go. This is our latest post group we've just copied. So let me delete the rest inside this subcontainer, except for the last one, which is our footer. Now let me repeat the operation for the tablet and mobile. So second subcontainer, click on post featured image, click on the three dots, add before, right click, paste, and then let's delete the post featured image. Then let's delete this subcontainer, and let's keep our footer. So let me collapse this, and now we can remove our group. Next, click on save. And now if I go back and refresh, there you go, looking beautiful. But now let's take a look when we click on one of the posts. This is what we get. And even though it looks super modern, especially when you're using the Spectra 1 template, if you want to be coherent with what we've built so far, we need to address this. So let's fix this. Next, applying our custom vertical pattern to the single post template. So in WordPress, you want to go to appearance, editor, templates, single posts, then click anywhere in the canvas, click on list overview, and once again, we're going to remove everything. Next, click on the plus sign, my patterns, click on vertical page template, and there you go. Now click on the list overview, and once again, let's collapse everything. So this is our desktop version. So let's expand this. Then let's open the second subcontainer. And within that subcontainer, let's click on the first subcontainer. Then go to General, Layout, and where it says Custom Width, you want to change from VW to pixels, so PX. And you want to change the value to 800. Next, select the container just above, so the second subcontainer here. Go to General, Flex Properties, and Align Items should be set to Center. Then click on Save. Now if you remember, this is what we had, so now let me refresh. And this is what we have. This is our featured image, our title, and our text with the comments. So let me scroll back up, and in case you don't know how to get here, just go back to blog, and this is the blog grid using our vertical pattern. Click on the image or on the title, and we're back to the single post. So let's take a look at what we've built today, and if you followed along, congratulations. So this is our homepage, and I wanted to make it simple on purpose because I just want to demonstrate the sticky nature of the vertical header. So as I scroll, as you can see, I got some images. The first one is a featured image, so it takes the full width. And then when we get to the content, we got some edges around so that the content is breathing. Next, we can click here. We got a full screen navigation. We can go to the blog, And this is our blog read made with our custom vertical pattern. And as we click on it, this is our single post. So we got our featured image, then we got our title and our content and the comments. Next, if we click on the menu, we got our sample page. Let's take a look at the sample page that comes with WordPress by default. And as you can see, it works fine. We got our content here. Now, of course, it works fine on tablets, even though as mentioned previously in this video, it didn't make sense to have a vertical sticky header in tablet mode. And the same goes for the mobile mode. So for tablet and mobile, we got a regular sticky header on top, but everything is working fine. The full screen navigation is working beautifully. And if you go to the blog, it works just as fine. So if you just followed along and were wondering what Spectra Pro can do, well, now you know. And if you're interested, you'll find a handy link in the description of this video. And if you want more of this type of content, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. And by the way, did you know that I created this logo with a completely free tool? And I created a video tutorial about it. So if you're interested, make sure you watch this video appearing on screen right now, and you'll find a link to this video in the description below.